Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video by JoeGeo13. Today we're going to be working on the house from up, and today's segment will be only on the core of the house. We won't be finishing the house today, we'll only be creating the base core, and then in the next video we'll be working on the details, and then after that I'll probably make a third video on fine-tuning where I will actually grab these lines that are way too thick for this drawing and we'll start thinning them out and we'll start doing the effects and maybe even adding like little tiles and smudges and whatever it is that we need to do to make this house look realistic. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're basically going to go and we're going to set this up in 3 stages. So this house, we're going to create the core, which is this here, which is going to be the house, the bottom, and the back of the roof, right? Which is this back over here. The second thing we're going to do is the patio area. Oh, actually no, that's the next video. The next thing we're going to do is I call it the details, which is this part, which is all the windows here. Now I didn't put this one here. And see, which is the blue, the orange, the pink, the doors, the windows, and all that. And then the last one is going to be the roof, the front half of the roof. So when you do all 3 of these together, we're going to get the core as well as the chimney. Let's get started on this. Alright, so let's get started. So what we're going to do is, I've already made a large portion of this. I was looking at the old videos and they were just too long and they were taking too much time. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to recap a lot of the decisions that I made while I was designing the house. So as you can see, we have a roof core, a details, and a core, and I need to change details. I think patio should be called details. So what we did is basically for the core, we designed the roof, the walls, and the bottom. So one of the things I did is I just created the bottom right over here. This is the first layer I made. And one of the great things about this is once I was done, see, so when you look at it, it creates the bottom. I should kind of draw that, but I'm not going to. Who knows, maybe I will. But when we go into the inner wall, which is this one here, one of the things I did is I actually duplicated this layer. I hit this button here, which duplicates layers, right? And what that did is that allowed me to then do I went with lasso. I selected these pixels here. I copied them, right? So I copied them, or Control C. So what I did is I got these, I copied these, and then I created a new layer. And in that new layer, I just pasted them. So now what it let me do is then I could, with the end point tool, just continue adding points to it. And with that, I was able to then do this house wall, and that's how I continued the wall. That's always a good technique when you've got layers that are intersecting with one another, to just copy that, and that way you have them exactly on the same points. So then what I did is I copied the wall, I traced the wall. If you notice, this is going to be another layer, so that's why on this I decided that I was just going to cut through, because there's going to be a layer that goes on top, and then the layer for the roof was going to go on this. So that's why I just kind of like kept it straight, and then from here I just carved it down, right? So that's how I created these layers here. So then the last thing I did is I actually I took the eyes off all the layers and I worked on the roof. For the roof, it was actually pretty cool. I designed all of these. I traced all around. Now, one thing I did is I got this point that I added right over here. And one of the big things about it is I wanted to make sure that it aligned perfectly with these two. That way I could save some points. I then, once I had the whole outline, I then created a shape out of it, right? Once that shape was created, I used the add point tool, and then I started adding this back end to the roof, and then these lines. Now those lines, if you're wondering why those lines are there, those lines are these lines. See the little cracks and creases? So that's what those are. So that's why I did those. And I think this one's a little off. There you go. So That's how I did that. So that allowed me to then make the back end of the roof. And this is how I created the core, the base core of the house. And this is where we're gonna end part one. So this is the base of the house that we're working on. And what we're going to do for part two is this house was very intricate. So for part two, what we're going to work on is we're going to work on the details of the house, which I've already started working on. But the thing is, I realize that this video, if I do this whole house, it'll be 3 weeks before you guys get another video. So what I'm going to do, this is going to be the very first part. And there's still plenty of details, plenty of things that need to finish because we're going to need to thin out these lines. I need to add the window here. We need to add not only just the windows, but even the window frames within the windows. So if you look, I have to do the window frames. We have to thin it out, thin out the lines the way I'm doing here. And we need to find a good line width that works on something as small as this and something as big as this. So I have to find a good width. This is 10, but that's not going to match the rest of my animation. But we're going to go, and I don't know if this is going to be a 2 or a 3 part video, but the next video that we're going to work on is going to be the details of the house. Alright guys? So see you on my next video.